Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome into another day of Morning Jox. Conrad Van Order and Damian Mitchell here with you for the next hour as we keep you up to date on anything you may have missed overnight as we continue to progress to the start of the college football season. 3 days from now, you will have Kansas State and Iowa State in Farmageddon over there in Dublin, Ireland. That will get us started in the 2025 college football season. And 9 days from now, you will have Auburn taking on Baylor as we officially kick off SEC football here in the state of Alabama. That's also conveniently the same number of national titles that Auburn has now is 9. So that's I just thought that was a fun coincidence for today's show. If you missed the big news yesterday, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I think just about everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
that means that we're also 10 days away from Alabama and Florida State as they will do battle down there in Tallahassee coming up next Saturday as well. So a lot for us to continue to look forward to, Damian, and I guess we might as well while we're just off the top. I didn't know. I know that y'all got a little bit of it on Mac and Q, but I know y'all were, helping carry the conversation for us at the beginning of Three Man Front a little bit. We talked about it pretty much for 4 hours yesterday on Three Man Front. So, I mean, I pretty much said my piece. I will repeat that for anybody that wasn't listening yesterday afternoon. In my opinion, as an Alabama fan, if I'm going to claim 18 national championships, I don't really feel like I'm in the business of criticizing other fan bases for whatever titles they want to claim. So as far as I'm concerned, Alabama has 18 titles because that's the number I look at it, and Auburn has 9. So if Auburn's going to go and claim 7 new ones, that's, I'd be a hypocrite for me to do anything other than say congratulations on the national championship. So that's kind of how I feel. I thought the conversation was really entertaining yesterday. A lot of you getting very fired up, a lot of you very passionate. Which is good because I think it just means a lot of you are ready for football season. But I didn't know, Damian, if you had any thoughts you wanted to share, expand upon.
Nah, I mean, again, I'm not, up in arms if you're claiming titles back in, 1910, 1913, 14. I don't care. I wasn't there. Who knows what the record book says, but as long as, if you're an Auburn fan, Auburn alum, whatever, congratulations. That's, I guess that's warranted a congratulations. Like, you got some other national titles. Everybody can speculate. 2004, like there was an actual national title game that was played. You weren't in it, but okay, if that's what we're doing now. But now, with Senator Tuberville, we have to start addressing him as national championship winning senator. Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah, he might have lost some votes yesterday based on some of our texters. That
I heard that
some people,
you can't cross the political and sports lines around these parts. It gets pretty personal if you ask me. But congratulations, Auburn. If those are the national championships you're going to claim, so be it. But now that makes Scott Frost a national champion. Because now that 2017 UCF, they are national champions. Everybody laughed at them when they put up the banner that they were national, champions, and that means the Auburn and UCF game in 2018, the Peach Bowl, was actually a national championship game. I did not know. But congratulations to UCF and Auburn yesterday.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, too, because I think a lot of people did deep dives yesterday on, I guess the validity of certain national championships for, different schools that, claim titles, but maybe the NCAA doesn't recognize them. And I think it was just fascinating to go back and see, what some people would consider legitimate versus what some people would consider illegitimate. And like, for example, you brought up 2004 for Auburn and how I think of all of the years that you would make an argument for, that would be one of the more difficult ones because it doesn't mean that wasn't maybe the best team out of all of those for Auburn, but you had a format, which was the BCS, that determined who would play for a national championship, and you had a national championship game that 2 teams played in, and Auburn was not one of those teams. I'm not saying I thought they had a great argument. I thought they deserved a chance to play in that game, but they didn't get it. So again, that's where it's kind of hard for me to go back and say, oh, well, yeah, let's just give them a national championship and assume that they were going to beat USC because a lot, we had people yesterday, oh, they weren't going to lose to USC in 2004. It's like, okay, and maybe they weren't, but like, can we not forget that that was one of the greatest college football teams of at least the modern era of the 21st century? But again, I digress. It's just it was just funny things like that. But hey, if you want to claim that one, Alabama in 1941 lost 2 games. They were ranked 20th in the AP poll, and then somehow there was some other poll out there that put them number 1, so they claimed that as a national championship.
So is Auburn a blue blood program now?
No, we're not doing this. No, they're not.
Oh, my fault, Conrad.
No.
I was just saying. Now they're tied with Ohio State when it comes to national championships now. The Ohio State.
Yeah,
and if Ohio State is a blue blood program, then
yeah, Ohio State also is what, top 5 in all-time wins. Auburn's 20.
Okay, Conrad. Okay, if you don't want them to be a blue blood program, that's on you.
You think they're a blue blood?
No.
Okay,
but they got 9 national titles, though.
That's great.
History tells me that they are a perennial powerhouse.
That's great. They're 20th in wins. They're not going to be up there in terms of conference championships.
We got 15 of those now. I'm just telling you.
They're not a blue blood.
I'm just telling you what the numbers tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my fault. I didn't know it was gonna wreck your morning, dog.
It doesn't wreck my morning. It's just it's just a funny debate. Landrum brought that up on a 3-man front yesterday too, and a lot of people were very quick, like I was now. Just no, we're not rewriting. No, we're not going back and that's not how it works. Because some people were, we had some people say, well, USC hasn't done anything in 20 years. USC also has 11 NCAA championships that are recognized by the NCAA, whereas Auburn technically has 2. I know they have 9 now, but I'm just saying there's some differences there. That doesn't mean that Auburn's not a great program. They are absolutely one of the best college football programs of all time, but I'm not going to put them in the blue blood conversation. And again, I think at this point, you can't – people want to change, like move the goalposts on that conversation. I feel like somebody a blue blood now? Like, that's not how it works. Like, you either always were or you never were. Like, you don't become a blue blood. You either are one or you're not.
Fair.
And it just is what it is. Because somebody brought up like Georgia yesterday. Do you think Georgia's a blue blood? I do not.
No.
I think they're like Auburn in that arena around the blue bloods, but they're not in that conversation with Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, and USC, maybe Texas. That would be about it, in my opinion. But anyways, that's neither here nor there, but I know we had a lot of fun yesterday with the conversation about Auburn claiming their national champions. And so if you are choosing to recognize those, then congratulations. You are a much happier person these last couple of days. And if you're not going to recognize them, then so be it. But again, as an Alabama fan, I feel like it would be very hypocritical of me to not recognize Auburn and their 9 national championships. But Alabama, if Alabama's going to claim 18. So it is what it is. But we did have both Alabama and Auburn on the practice field yesterday. So we got to hear from Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator of Alabama. Not a whole lot coming out of Auburn yesterday. Seemed like another good day on the Plains, as continuing to hear good things about the running back room. Of course, Jeremiah Cobb, Omar Mabson, and Damari Alston. Damari Alston actually kind of getting some love as maybe the most complete back that they have right now in that running back room, but they certainly have a lot of opportunities. Maybe that's what Hugh Freeze meant when he said he's going to play all 3 quarterbacks. He meant all 3 running backs because it seems like all 3 of those guys are going to play. But
you just think you misquoted? You just misspoke?
No, I think he said quarterbacks, but I was just trying to help some people out there. But yeah, seems like everything's going as planned there on the Plains of Auburn. Remember, on Friday, they're going to have their final scrimmage of fall camp. And, of course, with that, they're essentially going to treat it like a dress rehearsal for the Baylor game. So you're going to go through your entire game day routine. I would imagine Alabama going to do something similar as well on Saturday. But you're going to simulate like it is game day, right? You're going to wake up. You're going to go through your walkthroughs. You're going to do your pregame workouts. You're going to do your walkthroughs, all this good stuff. Eat your pregame meal together as a team and treat it. And they're going to scrimmage at night like they are simulating when they will be playing Baylor coming up in 9 days. So a lot of good stuff left to get to here as we're in the final week of fall camp. I know classes starting back for a lot of the players as well. So things getting a little bit busier, but again, you did have Alabama on the practice field as well, and we got to hear from Ryan Grubb. So we'll let you hear from Ryan Grubb. What did he have to say about the running backs? That, of course, being the big topic yesterday with Jam Miller being out. What is going to be the pecking order now for the running back room moving forward? What are some of Ryan Grubb's thoughts on individuals within that room as well? We'll tell you all of that and what we heard from Alabama's fall practice yesterday next on Morning Jox. 6:15 and welcome back in. It's the Wednesday edition of Morning Jocks. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you. Putting a bow on the big topic from yesterday, which I'm sure a lot of you had a lot of fun with Auburn and their new national championship claims, and a lot of people getting fired up and feeling one type of way or another about the entire situation. But we are putting a bow on it and moving on to the start of the season because, again, as I said yesterday, I feel like in about 2 weeks, once we're in the midst of the season and we've gotten our first impression of what Alabama and Auburn are going to look like and the rest of the teams in the country, I don't feel like that's going to be a conversation people are really interested in anymore because we're going to be focused on what's going on this year and trying to make a college football playoff and potentially compete for a national championship this season. So appreciate all of you already chiming in on the text line. We'll get to those here coming up momentarily. And you can, of course, always join the conversation at 205-834-9450. And that's how you will get on the courtesy GMC text line. But how about a little Ryan Grubb? So Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, of course, for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He was speaking with the media yesterday. And as you would imagine, a lot of the questions involving the running back room with Jam Miller being out, what's the rotation going to look like? What does Ryan Grubb think of certain guys within that room? So let's start off. This is Ryan Grubb just kind of giving an overall assessment. This will be cut number 3. It's his thoughts on just the running back room as a whole outside of Jam Miller now that he's out with the collarbone injury.
Seen a lot. Daniel Hill has done a good job providing a lot of protection. And I think he's gotten a lot better at that as far as with his eyes. He's a super physical guy. I think Daniel has started to run like the back we saw in the spring. Early in camp, I thought he was a little bit slow to come to that. Dre has great vision running the football. He improves every day still. I think some of the pass protection responsibilities are things that probably were not in his wheelhouse prior to getting here. Kevin Riley has started to show up a little bit. He's a guy that has really nice vision. Not as big a back as the other guys, but runs very physical and is really good out of the backfield.
So there you go, kind of his overall assessment of the running back, just the running back room outside of Jam Miller. He was also asked later on about Richard Young specifically and mentioned that he's been really impressed with him through the first 2 scrimmages, and he's been a guy that at times has been a spark for the offense when they need to get something going in the run game. So really, really positive about Richard Young and just kind of his development. And again, just kind of, as I think you're going to keep hearing, right? It's, how have these guys developed doing all of the things outside of carrying the football, right? Because I think we all know these guys are talented. They're all going to be quick. They're all going to be difficult to bring down. They're all going to have some wiggle to them. But what are you doing outside of your duties toting the rock to make sure that you're making yourself as valuable as possible when you're on the field and you're helping the other 10 guys that are out there on the field with you? So some good news there out of the running back room. And he kept it short and sweet. Ryan Grubb, this was him when he was asked, essentially, who's going to fill the spot for Jam Miller, or what is it going to take for somebody to take over that top spot in the running back room?
I think it's, we got to see a lot here in the next week or so to see who can handle the game plan, who's the most responsible with all their duties.
There you go. Short and sweet. Who can handle the most responsibilities and, again, do the little things right between now and the Florida State game. As I understand right now, Richard Young seems to be the leader in the clubhouse, which isn't a big surprise, I don't think, to many people, but Daniel Hill certainly in the mix as well. I know Kevin Riley has been getting a lot of buzz as well as another young guy in that room, and then Dre Washington, the transfer from Louisiana, continuing to get some looks as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if you very well may see all 4 of those guys against Florida State, just while Alabama tries to figure this thing out. But it certainly seems like Richard Young is the leader right now, if you were to, I guess, have to put an RB1 title on somebody in that room. But a couple more cuts from Ryan Grubb. How about comparing this year's offense to last year? So, of course, Ryan Grubb was in Seattle last year with the Seahawks, but he's very familiar with what Alabama ran last year, of course, with Jalen Milroe under center. So this is Ryan Grubb. How does he think this year's offense will be different than last year's?
I mean, that's kind of the obvious one, right? Is like we're not necessarily a Jalen Milroe offense right now. Just Jalen was a super talented runner, and that was probably a part of the game plan every week, and which was smart last year by the offensive staff. So I think that's probably the biggest difference.
That's music to a lot of people's ears. Not a Jalen Milroe offense anymore. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you would expect, right? And as we know, that's part of why the injury to Jam Miller is so impactful, because of what you're losing out of the backfield from a rushing perspective from the quarterback position. Now you're missing your top running back as well. And then your other top running back is now playing for Michigan. So all of that kind of comes together to you can see why there maybe is a little bit of cause of concern there. And then finally, we got to check in on the quarterbacks, of course. So this is Ryan Grubb. What did he see from Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell in the second scrimmage over the weekend?
Ty, I think, was 12 of 15 or with 2 drops. I thought he was very controlled, distributed the ball right where it was supposed to be. I thought his eyes were in the right spot. I thought he was very disciplined. We were trying to put him in some spots in the fringe and things like that to see how he'd respond and make sure he takes care of the football, keep us in field goal range, all those things. And I thought he responded really, really well. Had calm demeanor when it was good and bad. There was a couple flows there. We started out really fast again and did a nice job. And when we hit a little bit of a lull, I thought he was there to respond. Austin started really, really clean, had a really nice touchdown drive to start. Keelan was doing the same, marched down the field. We had a couple hiccups up front there that put the ball backwards a little bit, but I thought initially in the scrimmage, all 3 of the guys played really, really clean, accurate throws, pushing the ball down the field when they could, and were smart with their checkdowns.
So there you go. Seems like a good report there from Ryan Grubb on the quarterbacks. As you heard him, Ty Simpson, 12 of 15 in the second scrimmage with a couple of drops. That's pretty good, and that kind of goes back to what we had heard, right? We're maybe not as explosive offensively with Ty in the game, or at least compared to what you had in the first scrimmage at times, but playing the point guard position, right? What we've talked about with Ty Simpson, what he needs to do for Alabama to be successful, get the ball out quickly, be decisive, making good decisions, and just getting the ball out to those playmakers, because we know Alabama has a bevy of those this year. So I did want to note this, a couple of notes and an update on Jam Miller. So the good news is so it was a collarbone injury, like we had been telling you, but it was a dislocated collarbone. So according to him, he did not have surgery to correct the injury, and the doctors were apparently telling him that his recovery time could be pretty fast. So fortunately, seems like maybe as far as that injury goes, right, maybe you caught a lucky break or two there, just in terms of I guess, how serious the injury is and how quickly he might be able to get back onto the football field. So again, Jam Miller confirming it's a dislocated collarbone, didn't have to have surgery, according to him, and the doctors told him his recovery could be pretty quick. So that is certainly good news for the starting running back for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But I did quickly want to throw this in there as well. This is Caden Proctor. I don't know if I know he's spoken with the media. I don't know if we've really heard a lot from him, though, or played a lot of what Caden Proctor's had to say on this show this offseason. But I thought this was interesting. So this was him after practice yesterday, and he was asked about what he thinks about the quarterbacks and really just Ty Simpson after him being named QB1 last week. And listen to this about his leadership and Ty Simpson kind of getting after it a little bit yesterday.
Love that, man. You know, it didn't matter whoever the starting quarterback was. I have a really good relationship with all of them. But Ty, we hang out. He's just a goofy guy, funny guy. But I mean, he just got fired up after practice. We didn't obviously have up to the standard the best practice ever today. So he got on us, and that's the type of leadership that you have to have. So.
I just thought that might help you, Damian, because I know you have a big decision coming up tomorrow with your college fandom, and I just thought you might like to know that you gotta, if you choose to become an Alabama fan, which again I've said I don't want you to do, but if you do decide to do that, you got a quarterback. He'll go after some guys in practice. They're not being held to the standard or putting in the effort to the standard of what he expects of his teammates.
I appreciate the leadership.
Yeah,
it's good to know. And again, that's what you want in QB1. If somebody that's going to step up and say, "Hey, this ain't the move. Like we're not putting it all together." I feel the same way about Cam Ward at Tennessee Titans. I've heard about him and Jeffrey Simmons getting into it, but again, that's what we need. It's a culture change. And think about it. I mean, you look at the Saban quarterbacks that we've had in the past couple seasons, and it's not to say no knock on those guys, but Bryce Young didn't strike me as a rah-rah guy. He went out there and played
No.
exceptionally well. Same with Tua. If Tua needed to say something, I feel as though he would, but most of the time it was done by action. But sometimes you got to go out there and bark a little bit. You got to say, hey, this is what we need to do. And to have that leadership from within your own locker room, that's a great trait to have. And I think Ty Simpson has really accepted this role as QB1, and just hearing everything from what Caden Proctor said, what Ryan Grubb has said, he's comfortable in this position, and he knows that, hey, if the things that happened last season are washed away. It's a new era. It's a new look. It's a new age Alabama team going into 2025, and he's taking it by the reins. And I really do appreciate hearing that from his own teammate that, hey, my quarterback, I rock with all three of them, but my QB1, he's definitely stepping up to the plate.
I just thought that might, give you some second thoughts or anything.
It has not
I
changed.
guess you said you've already made your decision.
Right.
So
It hadn't changed.
I just want you to have all the information you might need, because the last thing we want is, sometime next week you come back and you're like, man, if I had known that, I would have made a different decision on Thursday.
Right.
And that's, we don't want you to do that, because this isn't, this isn't like college. You can't just go and get NIL from someone else. You're stuck. After you commit, you're committed.
Roll Tide.
There's no decommitting for Damian. So that'll be a big announcement tomorrow coming out of our Jox kickoff party there at Regents Field, is who will Damian root for in the 2025 college football season. But a couple of notes quickly from the rest of Alabama fall practice. So yesterday, when the media was able to get a look at the team, the running back rotation, again, Richard Young was first off. Then you had Daniel Hill second, Kevin Riley third, Dre Washington third, and the freshman A.K. Deere was fifth. That rotation seemed like it may have gotten mixed up a little bit at times with different drills, but at least for what they were able to see, or the main part they were able to see, that was the pecking order you had at the running backs. Of course, as I said, it looks like right now Richard Young is the favorite, I guess, to be the lead back. But it will be very interesting to see just kind of how they distribute carries, especially in that Florida State game. Are you going to get, is this a situation, do you have somebody that you look at and go, hey, we need to give this guy 15 to 20 carries a game? Or are you giving, maybe three guys, 8 to 12 carries a game, and you're just really trying to spread it out? That'll certainly be something interesting to watch. But people there yesterday at practice said the defensive line had a lot of intensity in practice. They were one of the more impressive groups. And, of course, the big news yesterday was James Smith back on the practice field after he'd been dealing with an ankle injury. So he had missed the last couple of scrimmages, and he'd been dealing with some injuries in practice as well. So James Smith back on the field yesterday for the defensive line. So that is certainly always good to see. Jaden Roberts, he was also dressed out yesterday. He wasn't doing position drills when the media was out there, but good news to see that Jaden Roberts back out there dressed out in uniform and getting at least a little bit of work in yesterday. So maybe that bodes well for the Florida State game. But that's really the main takeaways from yesterday for Alabama fall camp. Of course, they're starting school today, so I know their fall camp schedule kind of goes all out of whack now. But like Auburn, they'll have their schedule or their final scrimmage on Friday. Alabama's going to have their final scrimmage on Saturday. And then, of course, as we know, on Monday, it'll be game week. It'll be real, as you'll have Auburn getting ready to go to Waco to take on Baylor, and Alabama getting ready to travel to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. So a lot left to get to in the show today. We have the SEC media poll. So we know we do this at SEC Media Days, and we kind of have fun with it. But how about the coaches? So the coaches have spoken, and the coaches have let you know who do they think the best players in the SEC are for the upcoming season. We'll tell you who made the SEC's all coaches preseason team. That's coming up next here on Morning Jox. 6:33, you're listening to Morning Jox here on your Wednesday morning. Conrad, Damian, and JT here with you as we dive into the preseason coaches poll, not for the top 25, but for the SEC, all SEC teams. And we're going to look and see how smart is the media, right? Because we did this exercise about a month ago when we were over in Atlanta, Georgia for SEC Media Days, and we came out and we announced what the media vote was for the all SEC first team offense and first team defense. And we're going to see how close did the media get it to the coaches. I'm just going to say, I think we did pretty well. So we will, I'll just leave it at that. But you do have first, second, and third team that the coaches laid out for us. So we have a lot to get to here. First off, you had Alabama and Georgia. They are tied with the most players represented across the three teams. So Alabama and Georgia both have 11. I will say for Georgia, now granted, some of these guys are, you might have 11 players, but I think Georgia has 11 players for 14 spots, right? Because, for example, like Peyton Woodring, they have as the first team place kicker as well as kickoff specialist, right? So it's one player, but he's technically taking up two spots. And if we're going by that, Georgia has 8 guys on the all SEC first team. The first team, 8. Now, half of them are special teams, but that doesn't matter because it's still the number 8. But Alabama and Georgia tied with the most there with 11. Auburn has 6 players represented. They have 2 players on the first team, just like Alabama. So we'll go through that very quickly here, and then we'll get to some of the other highlights. And Damian, you just let us know if you disagree strongly with any of these. But again, I think you're going to realize that the media, we did pretty well, all things considered. So your first team quarterback, the media vote was Lenora Sellers in Atlanta. The coaches say Garrett Nussmeier. So missed on that one a little bit, but no surprise that the LSU quarterback there, he is first team all SEC preseason according to the SEC coaches. At running back, you have Le'Veon Moss from Texas A&M. You have Quintravion Wisner from Texas. That is also how the media voted. At wide receiver, you have Ryan Williams from Alabama and Cam Coleman from Auburn. That is also how the media voted. Tight end, you're going to have Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt. No surprise there. And then on the offensive line, you got Caden Proctor from Alabama, Caden Green from Missouri, Austin Barber, Florida, DJ Campbell, Texas, Fernando Carmonia from Arkansas, and Jake Slaughter from Florida. So again, as far as the first team offense goes, the media and the coaches agreed on every position except for quarterback. So the media went Lenore Sellers, the coaches go Garrett Nussmeier. And then on the offensive line, the media had Austin Barber in there from Florida, whereas the coaches went for Fernando Carmonia from Arkansas. So 9 out of the 11, pretty good.
Yep.
I would say that's pretty good. Now, how about the first team defense? This one's pretty good right here. So you have on the defensive front, you're going to have Dylan Stewart from South Carolina, Colin Simmons from Texas, Keldrick Falk from Auburn, and Christian Miller from Georgia. That's how the coaches voted, and that is exactly how the media voted as well. How about at the linebacker spots? You got Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas, Whit Weeks from LSU, CJ Allen from Georgia. That would also be how the media voted. And then how about in the secondary? KJ Bolden from Georgia, Dalen Everett from Georgia, Michael Taff from Texas, and Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. That is also how the media voted. So 11 for 11 on the first team defense as it goes for the media versus the coaches poll. So that is how the coaches voted, and the media getting very, very close. So if you want to take it as the 22 starters on offense and defense, we got 20 of the 22 right as the media, at least seeing things eye to eye with how coaches see them.
Yeah, we know ball.
I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the names that's on there. Okay, so some people like the Lenore Sellers, some people like Garrett Nussmeier. I don't think necessarily you're wrong with either one.
No, I don't either. I mean, offensive line, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if you're not Cole, right? We're all kind of splitting hairs on some of these guys, right? So
I listen for the names that he said a lot, and I'm like, yep, he's good.
Yeah, he certainly helped me out more than once when it comes to the offensive line debate. Because once you're getting to like number 7 or number 8, I'm like, yeah, sure. And then we have special teams, as I mentioned. It's almost all Georgia. So you have your return specialist is Barrion Brown from LSU. Every other spot is Georgia. Place kicker and kickoff specialist Peyton Woodring. Then you got long snapper Bo Gardner, you've got punter Brett Thorson, and you've got your all-purpose guy in Zachariah Branch. So a lot of Georgia there. As I mentioned again, you have 8 spots taken up by the Georgia Bulldogs on the all-SEC first team, according to the coaches. But how about some of the standouts on the second and third teams as well? Lenora Sellers is the second team quarterback, so there you go. They just flipped that with how the media had it. But Lenora Sellers is your second team quarterback. You got Jaden Ott from Oklahoma, second team running back. How about your wide receivers? Eric Singleton from Auburn. This is where he shows up. He is a second team selection for the coaches, along with Aaron Anderson from LSU and Kevin Coleman from Missouri. You've also got a pair of Alabama offensive linemen. So this is where Alabama really shows up. Alabama has 7 members on the second team. So you have Jaden Roberts and Parker Brailsford there on the offensive line. So those are your 2 Alabama participants on the offensive side. But how about on the defense? You got Tim Keenan, LT Overton, Deontay Lawson, Damani Jackson, and Keon Sabb, all on the second team defense there, according to the coaches. So absolutely loaded up there at those spots. You've also got Harold Perkins. He made it as a second team honoree there alongside Deontay Lawson at the linebacker spot. So a lot of love for Alabama there. But, of course, you also had Eric Singleton from Auburn making it there on the second team. And then finally on the third team, that's where Jam Miller comes in, the running back who unfortunately has the collarbone injury right now for Alabama. Your third team quarterback, DJ Lagway from Florida. Don't think that's too big of a surprise there, but you do have a couple of offensive linemen from Auburn on the third team. You got Xavier Chaplin, who I know a lot of Auburn fans very excited about, one of the very best offensive linemen in the country, we hope. You have Connor Liu, the center, as well. He makes the third team there for Auburn defense, or on the offensive line, excuse me. And then for Alabama, your only representation on the third team is Bray Hubbard there on the in the secondary, along with Jam Miller, who is at running back, and then Alex McPherson from Auburn is the place kicker for the third team as well. So a little bit of Auburn and Alabama love there. Again, if you're just now joining us, Alabama tied with Georgia for the most players represented with 11 overall. Auburn had 6, and both Alabama and Auburn had 2 first-teamers to go along with it. So just interesting to see how the coaches kind of view things, because, I mean, we kind of view them as having a pretty good idea, because let's be honest, even if they're not maybe intimately familiar with a lot of these guys, they probably tried to recruit 90% of them, so they have at least a baseline of familiarity with their skill set and what kind of a player they are. But yeah, pretty good for the SEC, as the coaches and the media in very close agreement on who they think the standout players will be in the conference for the upcoming season. But we have some text to get to. Your thoughts have been rolling in this morning. Some of you still chiming in on Auburn and claiming the national champions. We have somebody that just texted in and said, y'all are all wrong, I guess, talking about the coaches and the media. It says Taylon Green's going to win the Heisman this year. Just randomly. Somebody just felt the need to.
Taylon Green?
That is what this says right here. Y'all are all wrong. Taylon Green is your Heisman.
Hey, listen, I think Taylon Green is spectacular, but Heisman?
That is
Hey, Bobby P, he also coached Lamar Jackson now, so it's in there. But you hate Sam Pittman though, so like I get it. Like
what?
You can't stand Arkansas.
I love Sam Pittman.
Ever since you and Hugh Freeze had that cup of coffee there at the bar, like I mean, even going into SEC media days, you hated Arkansas.
There's a lot of things you could say that I would entertain and just go along with and say, oh, yeah, Conrad hates that guy. Sam Pittman is not one of those people. I love Sam Pittman. I don't know if you don't love Sam Pittman, I don't know if you have a heart, honestly.
Right. I mean, that's more as an indictment on you as a person.
I think Sam Pittman's a great human being. I think he's a serviceable head football coach, and I think that he is a great human being and a great leader of young men. And I really hope that he's able to find a way to get to a bowl game this year, because I want him to stick around, and I don't want him to. I don't want him to be gone, but we'll just have to wait and see. Who knows? Maybe it'll be John Gruden in Arkansas a year from now. But we've got plenty of time to dive into all those fun hypotheticals with the coaching carousel and all that good stuff. But you can continue to chime in. What are your thoughts on the topics of the day? Alabama and Auburn fall camp. Maybe you feel a certain type of way about the all SEC coaches preseason selections. All that and more. 205-834-9450. That's where you can make your voice heard on the Courtesy GMC text line. And that's where we'll go when we return right here on Morning Jox. Oh, a few more moments here on Morning Jox. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell alongside you as we'll take you up to 7 o'clock, and then McElroy and Kublik in the morning will take over, where they will continue the college football conversation. But do want to give you a heads up, something coming up later today. So at 1 o'clock, so in just about 6 hours, a little over 6 hours from now, on Three Man Front, we're going to have Daryl Moose Johnston on the program. As if you've been keeping up with everything going on with the Birmingham Stallions and this recent push that we've seen from the fan base to try to sell 5,000 season ticket deposits this week, my social media has been absolutely flooded with a bunch of you out there who are sending in screenshots of, hey, I bought 3 season ticket packages because I'm trying to save the Stallions, or, me and all of my buddies, we all pitched in and we all got, our own season ticket packages. And so we're doing our part to contribute. All these wonderful things. I know a lot of you are very anxious about what the future holds for the Birmingham Stallions. And, does this season ticket push, is it going to ultimately even make that much of a difference? Is it going to potentially save the team and keep them here in Birmingham? So we'll have Daryl Moose Johnston of the UFL. He'll be on with us at 1 o'clock on Three Man Front to hopefully give us some clarity on what the decision is going to be on the Stallions, what the future may hold, if, should we be getting excited for next season and hopefully a bounce back to another UFL championship for the Stallions, or, is the writing kind of on the wall? And, it's unfortunate, but it looks like maybe the Stallions are going to be heading out of Birmingham. So we'll see what he has to say, if he can offer us any clarity on the situation. But I know, Damian, a lot of people on social media, and we've had a lot of texts, a lot of calls, things like that, of people just looking for answers. And so hopefully we're able to bring some of those to you today at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I just want transparency.
Yep.
At this point, we need brutal honesty of what exactly is going on. Secondly, how did we get to this point? Because now, if you giving us such a short amount of time to raise to get 5,000 tickets, you're basically saying we just need it in a week. And it's like, wait a minute. Can we spread this out? Can we have a checkpoint and then kind of move forward as we get closer and closer to the season? But yeah, Moose is gonna have to. I'm assuming that Pat and Landrum, they're gonna hit him with some questions like, hey, us down here in Birmingham, we need to figure it out, because you can't tell us that taking us out of the market is not going to affect the rest of the league, because we watch it. Now, are we there? So be it. I understand. But as far as television goes, we are going to watch UFL football. Mm-hmm. We dominate. It wasn't even close. So there's kind of a catch-22 on both sides. We need to know exactly how do we get to this point, and if attendance is it the end-all, be-all, or how big of a percentage is that towards the bottom line of what keeps the UFL afloat? Absolutely.
So, yeah, like Damian said, you hit the nail on the head, right? In terms of TV viewership, it doesn't get better than Birmingham for the UFL, and hopefully they recognize that. But we will see at 1 o'clock, so you can tune in for that later today, as we will talk with Daryl Moose Johnston on Three Man Front coming up at 1 o'clock today. But let's go to the Courtesy GMC text line. That's where we'll close out this show today, and we appreciate all of your great texts each and every morning here on the show. And we will start with Bammer Abroad. So we have someone texting in from, I guess, the UK, based on what the flag symbol is here next to the phone number. But they chime in. They ask, any word on if Auburn will be claiming any more equestrian or swimming national championships? Well, they've got enough of those.
All right.
you don't need to claim more when you've already got a trophy case full of them.
Right. we talking about football. It's football season.
Maybe another Final Four or something. I don't know. Let's see. We have another text. Oh, Bennett from Birmingham. Here we go. Our buddy Bennett, he chimes in. He says, kind of random, but I think the Baylor game is the defining game of Auburn's season. If Auburn wins, we could go 9-3 or 10-2. But if Auburn loses, I don't see us going any better than 6-6.
Bennett, do not jump off the ship if you lose week 1, man. It's a long football season, brother. It's a long season, man. If you lose to Baylor and win the rest of the SEC games you're going to Atlanta.
He's saying that's not happening, though, Damian. If you can't beat Baylor, you can't
beat anybody.
No. You might lose to Kentucky if you lose to Baylor.
Man, you need to worry about Vanderbilt, bro. This is, the 4th time you're going against Diego Pavia if you're Hugh Freeze? You got to find a way to get him.
Oh, that is a real concern.
Yeah.
For Alabama and Auburn, if we're being completely honest this year. But, all right, so Bennett, yeah, he's saying, hey, if Auburn can win that season opener, it's going to be a magical season. But if they lose, man, if they go 6-6, I don't think Hugh Freeze is here next year. So that's woo. Poor Bennett, man.
I know it, man. He's locked in.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to hear from you on the Monday after that Baylor game now just to see what the reaction is. Let's see. Someone says, Conrad, why don't you want your boy to be a Bama fan? He would be a great addition to the Bama family. And it's not, look, it's nothing against Damian personally. It's just, if Alabama's one of those things where it's like, I guess I could be an Alabama fan, but then don't be an Alabama fan. Like it just needs to be that is the fan. You want to be an Alabama fan beyond a shadow of a doubt. The other teams were never even in serious consideration. Otherwise, no. Good.
So it's like being kind of pregnant. It's either you are or you ain't.
I guess, yeah.
So I can't just kind of be an Alabama fan. It's either I can't just do it for a season and just say like I'll check back next year.
No.
Oh, so it's lifelong commitment.
Yeah, it's a blood pact. Yeah, there's a whole thing we'll have to do tomorrow. If you pick Alabama, don't worry. We got it taken care of. We've got it prepared just in case. But that's my whole thing. Nothing against Damian. I want Damian to root for whoever he wants to. And if he picks Alabama, then so be it. And I'll be very happy for him. But Alabama's not an afterthought, right? Alabama is they're the wife. They're not the side piece. They're the main squeeze. Gotcha. Eric in Adamsville, he chimes in. Says, with Netflix doing their popular series on quarterbacks and receivers, what series would you like to see next? I would like to see running back so we could get Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, and some other guys potentially. Yeah, I think that'd be
cool.
Absolutely. Because, I'm a big fan of the quarterback and the receiver show on Netflix. Let's see. Lee J chimes in and says, good morning, fellas. I'm not really clear on the years, but did Cole Kubelik win a natty yesterday? He did not.
He did not.
He was right. He was sandwiched in between the 93 and the 2004 one, unfortunately, for him. Let's see. It says, this one says, I know injuries are common during practice and scrimmages, but am I crazy or have there been way more across both college and the NFL? I feel like this year there's been more top-tier players getting injured in practice than any I can recollect recently. I don't really feel like it's been that many, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Outside of Jam Miller, there hadn't been like one, especially here in the SEC, that's just a big-time injury. A couple nicks and knacks, but nothing too major.
Yeah, and like Lagway, that was, that's kind of been around, so it is what it is. But we appreciate you joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 6. McElroy and Kubelik in the morning. They are next.